With all the new demons and background characters this season, let's take a look at the many different species of Hell and what we know about them. Most species seem to at least have their origins in one particular ring, so I figure we'll start at the bottom with the Ring of Sloth and work our way up to the less mysterious species that we know very well. But real quick, if you haven't seen it yet, go watch the magical girl Garnet Heart. It's free on YouTube. I made it with the help of some very talented animators, and Sarcastic Chorus plays a talking cat.
Let's keep things simple, you know? Rescue some cats stuck in some trees or something.
The cat's in a tree, it's because we want to be there. Leave us the fuck alone.
Link is in the pinned comment down below. We just launched a Patreon to make more episodes, or at least some short animations, so check it out and consider being among the first to donate. The very bottom ring of Hell is Sloth with its pink sky, which we of course know to be populated by the candle-headed species that most fans refer to as Baphomets. This name comes from the obvious reference to Baphomet, who has a very complex history. Baphomet is most well known today as the figure used by the Church of Satan to depict the devil. Before this, Baphomet's image was created in the mid-1800s by an occultist wanting to depict Baphomet as an entity of balance, taking inspiration for his design from different spiritual schools of thought and using the name of the supposed deity worshipped by the Knights Templar. Some theories point to the name in the Knights Templar writings being passing references to Muhammad, and others have used special codes to reverse Baphomet's spelling in Hebrew to try and spell Sophia, Greek for wisdom, and the popular name of the fallen wisdom figure in Gnostic literature. Regardless of the origins of Baphomet, he has become a popular image for Satan and demons, and it's no surprise that there would be Baphomet influence in the Helliverse. The Baphomets are a species, however, and not a singular being like the Princes of Hell or the Ars Goetia characters, and Baphomet doesn't fall into any of the traditional demon hierarchies that we know of. Some species seem to loosely resemble their prince, such as the image of Satan on his app indicating that he has horns and red skin like the imps of the Wrath Ring, and thus the Baphomets may be a species of demon that perhaps serve Baphomet, who serves as his own royal demon title. While the Baphomets seem to be centered in the Sloth Ring, that ring is ruled by Belphegor according to the Peter Binsfield classification of demons. While Baphomet and Belphegor seem to have no connection to each other in history, some fans have speculated that the two will be one figure, while others simply think that Baphomet will be a powerful figure in Sloth and Hell in general without having to replace Belphegor. I say throughout Hell because Millie's own brother, an imp in the Wrath Ring, happens to have a tattoo of Baphomet on his arm, something I imagine he would do for a noble and perhaps countercultural demon, but not to revere the general species of Baphomets. The Sloth Ring is known for being the center of the medical industry in Hell, which mostly focuses on trying to drug their patients with pharmaceuticals. As a result, most of Hell seems to be addicted to something or other, and for the Baphomets in the Sloth Ring, that hits extra hard, with some being very clearly lethargic from extended and ongoing use while on the job. Just above the Sloth Ring is the Ring of Envy, but this one feels a lot more like what you'd think of as the bottom of Hell, at least based on what we know of it so far. Hell follows a bit of a color spectrum, with the sky in each ring being its own unique color. Red at the top in the Pride Ring, orange just below that in Wrath, then yellow for Gluttony, green for Greed, and then we start to shift into dark blue for Lust, and what looks like an even darker purple for Envy. This ring is one we haven't seen yet, but that just means it's the next new ring we get to explore somewhere down the line, though there might be a big reason they're holding it off. This ring would be ruled by Leviathan, known as a demon prince in the show, but who was known in the Bible as an ancient sea monster that God had to kill because it was too destructive to humans. Leviathan is an extension of ancient mythological traditions about a primordial sea of chaos that monsters existed within, often thought to represent the ancient ages of chaos before civilization and humanity. In recent times, Leviathan is more associated with the Lovecraftian ideas of giant monsters beyond our comprehension, primordial beings that existed before existence itself came to be. This is something the series seems to be working into its mythology, with early interviews confirming that Hell may seem Judeo-Christian, but as we've explored in comparative mythology, the terms we use for Lucifer or other demons can often be applied to a lot of different figures from different cultures. With all that in mind, fans theorize the Envy Ring will be just one giant ocean, a place where giant sea monsters like Leviathan and other deep-sea demons can exist. As far as sentient species go, there appears to be more than one. The most prominent species we've seen that fans believe to be from envy are the deep sea fish-looking demons. Other varieties seem to have appeared, however, such as this jellyfish-looking lady. Until recently, the most we've seen of the deep sea demons came from this Karen at the hospital in the Sloth Ring, who gives the impression that the Envy Ring is largely suburbs full of entitled upper-middle-class citizens. The most recent episode, of course, had the deep sea demons Glitz and Glam, and in the audience, quite a few other deep sea demons as well. While some of the shark demons and deep sea demons may look related, the deep sea demons appear to have the power to glow in the dark, like the deep sea fish species in real life. The only time we see this with the sharks of the Greed Ring are when their eyes are glowing with their strange rings, but Glitz and Glam appear to have full body glow effects going on, so I believe they are from envy. Clowning appears to be popular with a lot of different species in Hell, so some deep sea demons were bound to be here either way, but I think Glitz and Glam being some of the top performers might be the big motivator for why this species is seen in such large numbers in Mammon's mid-season special. While I do keep in mind that we are slowly going to be seeing more and more of these newer species in the background more often as more background characters are developed for the show to use, I like to imagine that the in-world reason we haven't seen that many of them until now is because they are a more isolated species, generally preferring to stay in the Envy Ring. I imagine this to be because if envy is just a giant ocean, then that means the other species probably can't invade there very easily, and it provides them a community that is isolated as a whole from the issues that the rest of Hell faces. Though they of course can still travel to the other rings, it just seems more rare so far. This isolation I've theorized to give the Envy Ring citizens a sense of mystery and allure that makes people more likely to watch them on the news and social media, as we see that the Envy app very much looks like TikTok, which is popular for promoting people and their lifestyles on the internet. Because Envy appears to be nicer than the rest of Hell and can't just simply be visited, people are more likely to tune in to see what it's like there and what the people are doing there with their nicer lifestyles. Above Envy is the Lust Ring. While we don't know if there is an ocean there, we do know that there is one in Greed, and I've theorized before that the water from the Greed Ocean may leak down to the Lust Ring as rain, and then perhaps down again into the Envy Ring where the water pools in the ocean. And then of course down to Sloth again, where we do see some aesthetic floating waterfalls. Here we have the Succubus and Incubus, which I refer to collectively as Succubus, though they're the only species so far that have distinct terms for their different genders, despite species like Imp having greater gender differences, it seems. While some rings of Hell seem to have more species overall than others, the Lust Ring appears to be exclusively the home of Succubus and Incubus as a native species, though others have migrated in, such as Imps, over the years. Their vampire bat-like appearance makes me think that they evolved as an early species to attract other demons with sexuality in order to absorb their energy, and would later be used against humans in the same way, before creating an entire economy around lust. Next up is the Greed Ring, which is home to the Loan Sharks and perhaps other species as well. The Loan Sharks appear to be just as greedy as Mammon and perhaps are working directly for him, being the elite demons of the ring who help to extract the wealth of the common citizens. While each ring seems to be home to at least one native species, there appear to have been migrations of the various species all over Hell, the most common of these being the Imps. Imps appear to have started in Wrath, as I've said, but have had various migrations into other rings that led to different subcategories of Imps developing. In some cases, this appears to be natural evolution that happens in isolation from the rest of the Imp species in other rings, leading to mostly aesthetic differences. But in Lust, the local Imp population has mixed enough with the Succubus, leading to taller, sexier Imps who have wings. In Greed, the Loan Sharks are able to financially feed off of not their own species, but off of what looks like a much larger population of Imps who seem to be the bulk of people in the Greed Ring. It is uncertain if Imps outnumber the local species of other rings, but in Greed that does appear to be the case, and it's something the Loan Sharks seem to benefit from. With there being lots of Imps, they are able to do the manual labor that keeps the Greed Ring going, while the Loan Sharks simply focus on trying to extract more wealth out of them through high-interest loans. Each ring may have its own reason for Imps migrating there over the years, but it's possible that Mammon was able to lure away a lot of Imps from Wrath with the promise of a better lifestyle than working on the farms growing people's food, only for them to end up in gang-infested slums where they are constantly in debt. Now from here, the exact home of certain species gets a little difficult. As discussed earlier, like in the Envy Ring, some places appear to be home to more than one species, and that may be the case for Greed, but Greed may also have pulled some species in from other rings of Hell. In Greed specifically, we see the shark demons and the Imps, but we also see strange, other more reptile-based demons. One close-up example of this is a really cool snake-looking demon, but many fans expect this kind of demon to be from Wrath, like the imps are, since Wrath is largely a big desert wasteland where you expect to find snakes. Moxie claims to be from Wrath as that is where his mother is from, but his father is a mob boss in the Greed Ring, and with that in mind, I think it's possible that other species local to Wrath may have been recruited by Crimson for operations in the Greed Ring for one reason or another. In addition to the snake, we also see a Triceratops lady who watched Fizz and Blitz fighting in the streets of Greed. Dinosaur demons would be really cool, and I feel like they could exist anywhere, but outside of deep sea dinos in the Ring of Envy, I feel like they would mostly be seen rampaging around Wrath more than anywhere else. However, in addition to the Triceratops, we also see this cool nerdy pterodactyl demon, and with them both being in the Greed Ring at the same time, it just feels like they may be from here. Sharks are basically sea dinosaurs, so I guess it would make sense that they might live in Greed near sharks, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Then of course there is the mysterious clown demons with mammon-like colors. Clowns are popular in Hell, with Hell having a general circus theme. Clowns are most popular in Greed, it seems, with Mammon being the clown or jester among the royal demons. We first saw these strange demons in green clown attire in the background, where they had such different shapes from each other that it was hard to tell what species they were supposed to be. In recent episodes, it seems that it's different species dressing up as clowns, though the strange use of what looks like bones on the earlier designs is very odd, and makes me wonder if there were different plans for Mammon and these clowns early on. Above Greed is Gluttony, ruled over by Beelzebub and inhabited by the Hellhounds. Because Beelzebub isn't actually a hound herself, I theorize that it's possible that there are other furry-type species that perhaps exist in smaller communities in the Gluttony Ring, similar to how there seems to be an entire species of bird demons through the Goetia extended family. However, this most recent episode really reinforced that it's just a bunch of different kinds of dogs down there. For a second, I thought this dog here was a bear, but no, he really is just a big dog. Still, with the dinosaur and snake and other animal-based demons popping up, there could be lots of other species that we don't know about in small communities everywhere in Hell, so hopefully we'll see more of them. Wrath, of course, appears to be home mostly to imps, with this believed to be the original home of imps before their various migrations to other rings. The imps of this ring are known for being shorter overall, with imps as a species being more violent and having shorter lifespans on average than the other mortal species of Hell. Finally, Pride doesn't appear to be home to any species in particular, with it being where the Earthborn sinners are restricted to, so they don't overwhelm the other rings of Hell. Perhaps there was once a sentient species in the Pride ring, but as soon as the immortal sinners started manifesting in Hell, they would have inevitably been pushed into lower rings or even into extinction. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and don't forget to check out my new show, The Magical Girl Garnet Heart.